peace, y'all. What's up? What's up? Testing, 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 testing. You know, testing, testing, y'all. Testing, testing. Do anybody? It's the audio. Is the audio correct? Testing, testing. Y'all come on in, y'all. Come on in. We do have it set up where you can, if you're watching in from the YouTube, from the TikTok. No, if you're watching in from the YouTube or TikTok, we do have a call in link. You know. So we do have it set up where you can call in if you would like. Um, definitely, y'all. Let's get it in. I'm gonna need my Bible so you can come back. You know. Let's talk about it, y'all. Let me check. So if you're watching, like I say, y'all, if you're watching on the Twitch, if you're watching on the Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, there is a link where you can call in. If you go to the YouTube, we have a link in the comments.
No, we gotta go to YouTube to get the link.
I'm saying, is it in the comments?
Yeah, it's in the description.
Oh, all right. Yeah, so if you go to the description in the YouTube, you get the link. I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna share it, y'all, with y'all. See, I want to erase it. I want to erase people to pick in and come in like that. I don't want that.
You got this in here, like you're doing it.
Getting everything straight, y'all. Getting everything straight. Live visibly restricted. Why is my live? Your live is ineligible for recommendation and restricted search results because its primary directs people off the platform. This is in line with our.
Because you're telling people to go to a different platform.
I don't know how.
Because when you say it, you know. Yeah, they come in. We'll bring them in. I already put it up.
Well, peace, peace, y'all. Peace, peace. Peace, peace. Peace, peace, y'all. Come on in, y'all. Come on in. Share the live, and we'll get it started, y'all. I gotta get used to, kind of going live this way. But let's get to it, y'all. Let's get to it. You see the title, The Devil Teaches the Bible. Title we've been dealing with and putting out a while. Like I say, it should really open your mind to what's really being said here, because deception is a form of revealing something. That's why you have angels of darkness. We have messengers, we have prophets, we have leaders, but they're all of the darkness. They are not of the light. So that's why this whole thing about the Israelites, to bring in God's government, which will be the enlightened government, and not the government that pushes darkness. So this is the transformation. And like I say, a lot of people don't even understand that the devil has already been kicked out of heaven. A lot of people don't get that part. A lot of people think the devil being kicked out of heaven is You know, we have a lot of vain imaginations about that, but it's simply the devil being kicked out of heaven. It's just simply the devil influence, the lie influence, the influence of the lie is no longer is in the minds of the people. So a lot of people don't understand these things have been taking place because we're dealing with a generation of people. You're dealing with a nation of people worldwide that's really casting down the truth. I mean, casting down the lie because of the truth that's been spoken. The spoken truth made people cast down the lie. Appeal not approved. They didn't appeal my approval. You know, the spoken truth is causing people to what? To kick down the lie. Now the lie is only dealing with people who what? Who don't care to dwell in understanding or higher learning or higher knowledge. Some people just don't care for it. You know, so the deception is going to what? Deal with them. Because the deception, which is the devil, can no longer deal with people who want to what? Understand higher information. Above the earth. High school. So to all the people that yearn to go to high school and want to go to high school and want to learn high information, the devil can no longer touch them. Because for a long time, the devil has been in what? High places. For a long time, these teachings about Jesus and what Jesus did, Jesus walked on water, all this have been in high places, and people have been deceived in multiple ways with the Jesus story and with the religious teachings. They just put out a document. They just had to do a whole research, a whole restudy of the Council of Nicaea and its teachings about Christ. Okay. Bless love. What happened? I don't know what happened, y'all. I said, I don't. Something happened. Some say bless love. Like somebody, I think somebody came in, but they came in. I think they just got out. It's not locked.
Did you add them?
No, I didn't add. They just came. It said the whole screen was blessed love. It had to be.
Automatically remove all
Okay, yeah.
Which
That's
one?
it.
This one?
Yeah.
Or this one?
Automatically.
No, we don't want them automatically though. We want to pick them, but he's up.
Peace, peace. What's going on? I think he must have clicked the link.
Yeah, we can't hear him though.
Yeah, we can't hear you, brother, but peace, peace. Yeah, we can't hear you, brother, if you're speaking. You gotta unmute your mic. You gotta unmute your mic. We can't hear you, brother. You have to unmute your mic. Y'all going to conceal it? You need anything? Huh? I'm good. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Appreciate it.
I asked him to unmute, but I don't know. He has to press the unmute.
Yeah, you gotta press the unmute, but I don't know if you know how to work the Zoom, but you gotta unmute yourself. You can't unmute him.
No, I can't unmute him.
So I don't know, brother. If you know how to work it or not, we can't hear you. So I'm gonna move you down. I don't unless you know how to work your mute button. If you know how to work your mute button, click on your mute button.
I asked him to unmute too.
And like I say, we also sent you like the screen froze. He ain't moving. That's what I'm saying. So he came in without us letting him in. say, I know before, like I say, y'all, they just did a study of the Council of Nicaea where it talks about the teachings about Christ. You know, is Christ eternal or is Christ a natural being? You know, because the Council of Nicaea made Christ eternally. So people dealing with a Christ that lived forever and not God Christ was a chosen living man. God Christ is a chosen living man rather than a deity that lives forever. You see what I'm saying? That's what they tried to teach us. Well, that's what they have taught people. And like I say, this deceptive information, this devilish information has been in the earth in high places. Everybody in the world think Christ live forever. Just by you accepting Christ live forever, you automatically going to accept the lie. Once you accept Christ lives forever, you automatically accept the lie. It's automatic. So the whole teachings and the whole really devil or the devil being cast out of heaven is to help people understand Christ don't live forever. God do. That's why it's called the eternal Father, not the eternal Jesus. So again, this is the kind of information that has been kicked down, man. We kicked that down, man. That's on us. You still believe that? Oh man, you ain't on Mount Zion. If you still believe Christ live forever, you're not on Mount Zion. In no way, shape, or form. In no way, shape, or form, if you believe Christ lives forever, you're not on Mount Zion. And the devil is able to what? The devil is able to bother you. Because you fighting with God and the Jesus you think live forever. That's what everybody fight with. God and you thinking Jesus live forever. Some people call it wrestling with your thoughts. So why are we not wrestling with our thoughts? Because we know God is eternal. We know Christ is chosen by God. See, this is almost like a foundation. God is forever. Christ is chosen by God. Don't that sound so simple? But they got it. God is forever. Christ is forever. Now you got two masters. And then they try to tell you God one, but God and Christ is one, but that's a teaching. Because I say it really don't make sense, because if Christ is a man, God is spirit, how could Christ be here in the beginning if he was a man? So Christ turned to a spirit and spirits come together? That's what we saying? But God and Christ is one because the flesh and the spirit came together. It's like a marriage. Christ enters the marriage chamber to be one with God. You got to do the same thing. Christ is the first one. So this marriage chamber is what makes Christ and God one. Not because Christ is a spirit and God is a spirit and these spirits become one. It don't work that way. God is spirit, Christ is flesh and blood. This kind of information is why the devil is no longer in heaven. The devil is no longer in heaven because of this kind of information. God is spirit, Christ is flesh and blood. You know, it's really just that simple. But we have been taught for so long that what? Christ lives forever. You know, like I say, y'all, if Christ lived forever, why did Moses have to show up? Why is there a Noah? It wouldn't be no Solomon. Wouldn't be no David. Christ would just keep showing up. So they done hijacked the story, made you believe it already happened. Now they're trying to trick you to say he coming back from the sky, because he never came. They got to put him in the sky. They can't put him nowhere else. Because if they said he was in the ground, you wouldn't be able to find the tomb. Anybody can create a tomb and say this is where the man left from and went to the sky. See what I'm saying? But they don't have a real tomb for Christ because they say he's in the sky. So do he breathe? Where's Peter? Is Peter up there with him too? Is Peter up there with him too? You know. So like I say, y'all, these are things, man, that when it's all said and done, and this is stuff people gonna be like, man, I believe that. This what I believe, man. This what I believe. Yeah, that's what the devil got you believing. And it's written, the devil deceived the whole world. It's written, y'all. Like I say, we didn't write it. We just here to fulfill it. So when I say the devil teaches the Bible, y'all, that's basically what I'm saying. Like the devil is using a book. The book have to be fulfilled. The book cannot be taught. That might be the next time. The Bible can't be taught. The Bible can't be taught, y'all. The Bible cannot be taught. Why? It has to be fulfilled. So if somebody is teaching it, what are they doing? Deceiving you. Putting a private interpretation on it. The Bible can't be taught. That's why I told y'all my greatest gift is to show you what I'm doing. Not to teach you what every word means in the Bible and where this come from and what the Bible ain't written for that. Like I say, you can put when it come to words, and I always try to tell y'all we speak Hebrew and English, but I know that go over so many people's head. We speak Hebrew and English? It can't be real. It can't be real. That's what people want. But y'all, Hebrew is a spoken language. It's a dialect of the tongue and the understanding of the mind and the culture of the people. Hebrew is not on paper. That's why some can be written down in paper, but other than Hebrew, and it means something different. Well, that let you know English is on paper. Our language, it ain't in the dictionary and it ain't on paper. Still to this day, the language that we actually speak is nowhere on paper. It's all right here. Still to this day. So Hebrew was never on paper. It's a spoken dialect. And if you're not a part of that dialect, and you try to write my conversation down, what's going to happen to it? You're going to diminish thought from the words. And that's what everybody's diminishing the thought of what all the prophets spoke. You diminishing Moses' words. You diminishing Isaiah words. You diminishing Jeremiah words. You diminishing words because what? The prophet spoke in a different dialect. Like when the prophet say you're going to marry God. Did they mean like the wedding you see today? No. So that's just a simple aspect of what? Something on paper, anything on paper diminishes thought from the standpoint the person is speaking. Still to this day. If somebody just following me, all the lies I do, and they writing everything I say, and you get my book, this is everything Yaju said. And if you read it, you're going to know everything Yaju said. You don't know why Yaju said that. You don't know why Yaju say, man, I'll be baptizing people. I done raised people up. You don't know why I really said that. That mean I had a bunch of kids and I raised them up? That mean I was taking people to the river and baptizing them? See what I'm saying? You got my words. Somebody wrote them down. But that don't validate you understand my teachings. You just got the book. So everybody got the book of the prophets, but they not a prophet. But the book magically make them a prophet. You see, you get the Bible magically somehow makes them a prophet. And that's what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with when it comes to our religious leaders. I wish we could pull that thing up on the screen. That's one thing I could do when I got it like this. I could pull.
That's what I need to work on because I can't.
I can't show stuff. Cause I thought that's what this for. But I want to read over the document about what council we are under. The council that we are. The council the whole world is under. And I basically, I was talking about earlier, like Christ is a entity that lives forever. Like a group of men came together and decided what council the world gonna follow. I'm gonna say it again. A group of men came together and decided the counsel, the standpoint of what all teachings about Christ and God gonna be. And the main point is Christ is eternal. That's what most of the people believe. Oh, eternal Christ, when Christ is a living man chosen by the eternal Father. And if we understood this simple aspect, y'all, it'll change our whole perspective. It'll change your whole perspective of how you perceive the writings you think you understand. Just that one little thing. Because if you don't remove the hocus pocus first, there's no way you will accept reality. A reality check, that's a nightmare to a person who believes in hocus pocus. That's a nightmare. You know, it's like some people, it's a nightmare to find out Christmas ain't real. Oh, what? I can't. That's a nightmare to some people. They want to live in what? Disneyland. They've been watching Disneyland, Nickelodeon all their life. So everything is a joke. Nothing is real. You know, nothing is real no more. Neverland, huh? Well, I'm one of them people, you could have been gave me a reality check. I could have accepted a reality check a long time ago. You know, and that's why sometimes people think being, you know, not having cable and not having these things as a child, you think that that's a bad thing for it. It's actually a good thing. You ain't need to see no damn Disney. You ain't need to see no damn Nickelodeon. You ain't need to see none of that. You know, so if you couldn't afford it, that was a good thing for you. You know, man, that stuff poison, man. That's all this stuff, like I say. So when it comes to the truth, is the reality check, man. The truth is really the reality check. You know, and the reality of God and Christ is not what they have fed us. Christ is not an eternal being. Christ is the seed. It tells us that. He's the seed of David. You know, like that's what it tells us. You know, like I say, that's what the scriptures tell us. If Christ is the seed of David, how can Christ be eternal? How can Christ come from David? And it wouldn't even make sense. How could Christ come from a so-called man and then become eternal? And we so blinded, we say Christ put himself Christ transformed himself into a man. I say, oh man, it's getting bad, boy, y'all, it's getting bad. I got that holding. You take it down, then just take and put it over there. So if Christ is the seed of David, he gonna sit on, you know, like stuff like that, y'all. It just, Again, reality check. When I talk about the throne of David, how many people talk about the throne of David? It's in the Bible. But why we don't talk about the things that nobody else talk about, but they in the Bible? Did David sit on the throne in the sky? Or did David sit on the throne in the earth? So if Christ gonna sit on David's throne, how Christ gonna sit in the sky? Reality check. You gotta put it behind. Raise the top part. You see what I'm saying? Like how these things, you know. But you know, like I said, so it's just little stuff like that, y'all, that we really gotta get a reality check, man. So we got a guest on the TikTok, y'all.
Hello, y'all.
What's going on, brother? Peace, peace.
I have a couple of questions for you guys.
Okay, is it pertaining to the title or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's based on the title. Because you always focus on Ethiopian kings, and I'm Ethiopian, and I'm from these communities, and I want to ask you some questions for you.
Okay.
The first question is what's your religion? Your religion, and where did you get this information?
I have no religion.
Evidence.
My information come from God. I have no religion.
You don't have religion at all, right?
Correct.
But you always focus on Christians. So why don't you say something about Muslims or another country? Because you are Ethiopians, by the way.
Well, yeah, my ancestors come from Ethiopia. But like I say, some of these people are Muslim up here. Everybody's not Christians.
Almost all are Christians, right?
Well, I know Wallo was a Muslim. Now he did convert over to Christianity, but he was Muslim at one point. So
which one?
Wallo, the king of Wallo.
King Wallo. It's
Yeah.
a province.
Yeah.
It's also a religion.
No, but there's
No. Wallo is not a religion. Wallo was an area in Ethiopia.
Yeah, Wallo is a province of Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I say. So he was born Muslim.
No, not all province of all.
His name was Muhammad Ali. Bro, his name was Muhammad Ali.
Which one?
The king of Wallo. Him. He the same man. Him.
this guy.
Yeah, this guy right here. And then you also have, you know, this another picture of him. Yeah, like his actual name was Muhammad Ali. He when he became Christian, he got changed to Mikhail. I think it's Mikhail or something like that.
Yeah, Mikhail.
Yeah.
I think he's from Mikhail.
Yeah, that was actually Haile Selassie's wife, father.
Haile Selassie wife.
Haile Selassie. This is Haile Selassie's white father. He was born Muhammad Ali. He was born Muslim.
No.
Yeah.
I think his grandmama has ancestor from Muslim families, but not his wife.
This was his wife's father. This the father of Haile Selassie's wife. He's also the father of the uncrowned emperor of Ethiopia.
His name is Mikhail of Wallo.
Yeah, but that's what his name was when he became Christian.
Right.
He was born Muhammad Ali.
You probably would know this. You know this? You can't really see it.
So you think that
Yeah, he the one to help Menelik fight off the Italians. Without him, Menelik wouldn't have fought off the Italians. Shit, the reason why Menelik won all his wars is because him. He had his own army. You know, like I said, he was a Muslim leader for a while.
So you think that they are from devils, right?
Well, not everybody on here, but people like Tedros sit on the throne of David. Menelik sat on the throne of David. All these people didn't sit on the throne of David, but again, this is the house of David.
No way. Theodos is from not from throne. He don't have ancestry from the throne.
Brother, it's not about ancestry. It's about God chooses the one to sit on the throne, brother. You see what I'm saying? That's what people. That's why Tedros has a statue labeled King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Everybody don't. They have many other people that sat on the throne. And before Tedros, it was princes. When Tedros sat on the throne, they didn't have no King of Kings in Ethiopia. Tedros rose to that power with the power of God. This is what Tedros proclaimed. That's why he wasn't liked by his brothers. When you deal with the Bible, prophets are not looked up to. Didn't nobody like Christ? The other kings of the province, they didn't like Christ. So anybody that got God anointment, they gonna what? Disrupt a lot of kings. So this is what Tedros did, because Tedros was anointed by the Father, not by his father or something passed down to him. And this is how you get the begotten Son, the Son of God, the King of David. So this is why Tedros' statue is the King of Kings. And before Tedros, it was nothing but princes. It's a reason for that. But like I say, this stuff is not taught to Ethiopians, let alone the world. But these are the historical facts that was happening in Ethiopia that nobody talk about. And you got to also talk about the biblical famine that happened in Ethiopia. Like out of any country, Ethiopia went through a biblical famine. Israel didn't go through a biblical famine. You know, so it's just little stuff like that that we highlight, at least to try to pinpoint, you know, certain areas of why we say these things.
So you don't believe at God at all, right? You don't believe in God.
Yes, I believe in God. I don't believe in religion. I believe in God.
So which God you believe?
I believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
You believe in justice, right?
Justice?
Or not? Justice. I said justice.
Well, no, I don't believe in it the way we've been taught. Like, I know Christ is walking earth.
So for you, who is God for you?
God is spirit.
How do you describe God?
God is spirit. Like you know, you don't God, like even the Bible lets you know God is invisible. So you know, you can't. It's something, you know, you just gotta. That's why you have to accept God. You know, it's not really nothing you can describe. That's the whole thing about God having messengers. The Spirit of God goes in a person or people, and these people speak from the Spirit to give you the word from God.
So this means you believe in just, or you read the Bible, right? You believe in the Bible.
Yeah.
Because you say word of God.
Well, the Bible is not the word of God. The word of God is spoken, but I do believe in the Bible.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, people. I guess he just wanted some answers, huh? But people got to understand, man, that what we saying, y'all, is actually no other country that has a Bible with they name on it. There's no other country in the world that has the Bible with their name on it. The only country that has a Bible with their name on it is Ethiopia. It's called the Ethiopian Bible. You don't have an Israel Bible. You don't have a African Bible. You have the Ethiopian Bible. Now, is that coincidence? Hey, you tell me. But ain't nobody else got it. You know, ain't nobody else got what? The Solomonic dynasty. The only country that got the Solomonic dynasty is what? Ethiopia. The only country that got a throne that the Roman Catholic Church mimicked, that the British Empire mimicked, is Ethiopia. Now, maybe I missed some of the other African thrones, but the one that's mimicked by the people who run the world, they mimic the Ethiopian coronation. If it's a coincidence, I don't know. I'm going to leave that to you. We just stating the facts. But again, we do know. But again, we're not here to make you know. See, a lot of people think we're here to make you know what we know. No, we're just here to tell the truth. And if the truth for you, guess what you're going to do? You're going to attach yourself to the truth. That's what lovers of the truth do. You hear the truth and you attach yourself to it. The truth not going to make you attach yourself to the truth. So that's not, we here to speak the truth. And if you a lover of the truth, you would do what? Attach yourself to it. So right now, y'all, we're dealing with a lot of deception, man. But like I say, when I talk about Ethiopia, I talk about this prophecy. You talk about the historical facts. You talk about all this stuff that we bring out. And people still want to say, I don't understand. I don't get it. How you don't get it? And you know why some people don't get it? It's simple. Just imagine, y'all, you've been looking for the truth all your life. Say you've been searching for the truth for 40 years. Then somebody come give you some information you understand in one day. Ain't you going to be mad? You're going to be like, this it? Hold up. I've been looking for 30 years, and this is it. You telling me this it? Oh, no. I can't accept that. That can't be the truth. I would have found that. You know how somebody hides something, but they hide it, right next to you, but you go everywhere else looking for it, and the whole time it was right next to you. So since the truth is so simple, most people say that can't be it. I would have found that. Ain't no way in hell. I would have found that. That's what people do. That's why you think so many people backstab me? Because when they get the truth, they be like, oh, shit, I could say that. That's the truth. Oh shit, give me that, man. I'm a hold of the truth. That's where they mess up at. You know how somebody make it look easy because you watching? Then when you got to do it, shit ain't that easy. A lot of people do that with sports. Why he ain't make the shot? Why he ain't catch the ball? If you put you out there right now, you can't catch it or you can't make the shot. So why he missed it? Shit is hard. Why he ain't catch it? It's hard. That's why you have professionals and you have people that's not professionals. That's why God procreated and God created. See, a lot of people, God got a procreation. God procreation has a job. God procreation didn't do their job. So their salaries got took. Their wages got cut off. Their health care got cut off. Everything got cut off. Because those who God had procreated wasn't doing their job correctly. So all their benefits got cut off. So now God is back procreating again. God is back making professionals again. To bring what? His glory or its glory on earth. This is what God create professionals for. Just like a team might go out and get professionals so their team can look good. That's the same aspect that God do. God go out and create professionals. So God's image can what? Look good. And this is what's going on. But if the devil is teaching you, God got only one image, and he coming back, and he in the sky. But at the same time, we all got God in us. I always say this all the time, y'all. If God was in us, why were we waiting for Christ? Because if God was in me, God greater than Christ. So if God was in me, there's no way I could wait on Christ. It's impossible.
I believe we should go to Ethiopia and actually learn about the Bible. A lot of people in Ethiopia still believe in the same doctrine that you believe in America. So we don't have to go to Ethiopia to learn about the Bible.
Is Christ in Ethiopia? We gonna go to Ethiopia and find Christ? Or we gonna go to Ethiopia and find Christ? Like, and that's the point of how nobody don't believe in God. You just think because you go to Ethiopia, you gonna like the Bible lets you know the people in the Bible was deceived. The Bible lets you know the people in the Bible were deceived. So, but Ethiopians can't be deceived because they're in Ethiopia. But I had wanted to read something earlier that I had thought about in Ecclesiastics, where it talks about if you got an apocrypha, y'all, this is only in the apocrypha. So I don't know how many people got an apocrypha. But if you do have one, turn to Ecclesiastes. I want to show y'all something. Ecclesiastics. If you have the apocrypha, the little red book. Y'all can see it. It's crazy, boy. That green screen really. Y'all see the red book? It's a red book, y'all. My one screen got it. I got 3 screens up here, y'all. So I'm trying to show everybody. But the apocrypha shit. You got the apocrypha. Turn to the wisdom of Jesus, the son of Sirach, or Ecclesiastics. So if we read Ecclesiastics, in the first little part, I'm not going to read all this, but it's not even a chapter. It's just in the first little part where it says the prologue of the wisdom of Jesus, the son of Sirach. I'm going to say, whereas many and great things have been delivered unto us by the law and the prophets, and by others that have followed their steps, for the which things Israel ought to be commended for learning and wisdom. And wherefore not only the readers must needs become skillful themselves, but also they that desire to learn be able to profit them which are without, both by speaking and writing. My grandfather Jesus, when he had much given himself to the reading of the law and the prophets and other books of our fathers, and had gotten therein good judgment, was drawn on also himself to write something pertaining to the learning and wisdom, to the intent that those which are desirous to learn and are addicted to these things might profit much more in living according to the law. Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to have come short of some words, which we have labored to interpret. For the same, this is why I read all this. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. For they are spoken in their own language. For in the 8 and 13 year, well, I can stop right there. So it's letting you know, for the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. This goes for what? The law itself, the prophets, and the rest of the books. So it just lists stuff like this to show you the Bible is translated from a Hebrew tongue. That's like Project English. I'm talking using Project English. I'm talking English, but I'm a project baby, so I'm speaking Project English, but somebody writing everything down. They writing everything I'm speaking in English, but they're not going to put, oh, y'all Jews spoke Project English. It's just going to be written in English. You going to have to know who y'all Jew is and what standpoint y'all Jew is coming from. You see what I'm saying? So right now, the Bible is written in a Project English, aka Hebrew, translated into regular English. And when you read it for what? Regular English. So, like I say, y'all, these are things that we struggle with when it comes to the misinterpretation of the writings. This is what we struggle with. We read it for face value, and the Bible tells you it's written in metaphors, parables. The harvest. Who is the harvest? Your garden or the people? And just for a recap, y'all, I do have the YouTube up. You can call in through the Zoom. You come up on YouTube. I also have a TikTok up. So I just want to do a recap on that, y'all. I do have the YouTube up. And we do have the TikToks up. You know, but, so like I say, y'all, when it all goes down to the devil teaching the Bible, you see how people are teaching. And we, like I say, we got prophets. But it's Babel. We have the prophets. But what? It's Babel. And the Bible is a mystery. Because you think because somebody is reading you a scripture and they showing you a scripture for face value, it's true. This meeting has ended.
They can still hear you.
Hmm?
They can still hear you. I don't know why it ended.
I don't know if I say, y'all, this a real topic opener, y'all, to open your mind, man, to really, like I say, expose the devil. The devil is in disguise as an angel of light. The devil is in disguise as an angel of light. And what better way to disguise yourself as a person of enlightenment with God's book in your hand? See, I got God's book. Then they call it the good book. I got the good book. So the best way is to disguise yourself in these last days is put a suit on and grab a book. And that's what people have doing. That's what people are doing. That's what the devil is doing. That's what the devil is doing, y'all. Like I say, that's why we have this title, man. Like I say, it's a very eye-opening. It reveals who the devil truly is. They keep taking my live off the For You page. I don't know. I might have to change this title. I don't know. Every time I put this title up, they take the live off the For You page. For what reason? I don't know. So I might have to. We say I'm telling them the devil teaches the Bible.
No, not that. It's you was telling them that. Oh, you can go to another platform. They don't like that. They don't want you to say, oh, I have this other platform up.
No, he was doing that before that. Remember, he was doing that when I was in the room just recording. It was telling me how they ain't gonna put my live on the For You page. They gonna block the viewers. Yeah. Right. I said, I see the title. All I'm saying is one truth. Maybe because I got my title is one truth, many lies. So what? Like I don't know what. I guess I got to change education purposes. I'd be saying people put it for education purposes. We ain't. This is truth. So it is for education. Well, I'm gonna have to bend, y'all. I ain't gonna break, but I'm gonna bend. So I'm gonna have to put up the education purpose because they keep. Every time, the last 3 times I've been live, they didn't send me notification as I will not be on the For You page. Like I say, I got all I have with that. The devil teaches the Bible. We fulfill. Now they don't say I fulfill. See, without the Zoom, we can't put it on other platform. On stream, y'all put it on other platform.
Yeah, stream y'all put it on the platform. They're just using.
So yeah, y'all. So guess y'all welcome. Y'all welcome. Like I say, I can keep spitting the Jews, but at the same time, y'all, we have to understand the work. We have to understand the work. Can't hold the high vibration. You sure about that? You sure about that?
And if you feel like that on YouTube, you can come up, brother. You can come up, explain your piece. If you disagree with Yaju, it's that simple.
Nobody want to refute it. The devil teaches the Bible. And, the prophets, didn't write about us picking the book up and teaching it to people. It's nowhere where we have that in the book. And that's why I say the book is meant to be fulfilled. Because if I ask y'all the question, how many teachers of the book benefited us? Like, what teacher actually benefited us? After you learned the scriptures in the Bible, what benefit has it given you? Because a lot of people After they find scripture, they are looking for clarity. More people ask, man, what does this mean? I don't know. What does this mean? I don't know. You know how many people gonna say? And these are people that read the Bible over and over and over and over and over and over and over. As soon as you say what this means, the first thing they gonna say, I don't know. But they read the Bible over and over and over. And like I say, it's almost the devil done a powerful thing to make people believe God in that book. The devil done a powerful thing to make people believe God is in the book. And I know when people hear me say that, I don't know why I'm. When people hear me say that, you know, people be like, "Oh man, he don't believe in the Bible. He don't believe in God." That's the first thing people say. But that's not true, because I believe in both of them. But my understanding is not like what the rest of the world. You know, I've been called out of the world.
She said, I'm Ethiopian, but I don't like what you teach at all. Everything about you is wrong. So, sis, come up and explain what you dislike. You know, because you're not going to really understand it off of your own understanding. Because sometimes you guys assume of what we say and not really understand completely why we say what we say. Because I know a lot of Ethiopians, they don't realize that they're going to be cut from the sword as well. Christ is going to judge the Ethiopians as well.
Come up and state your claim. Because it's easy to say something in the comments. And like, you know, if everything about I don't even know what you mean by saying everything about me is wrong. Yeah, I don't get that part, but
explain.
you know, that's why, you know, it's best to come up and state your claim. You have a more valid statement. But at the same time, y'all, like I say, the devil deceived the whole world. So you have what? The devil's teachings. You have the devil's teachings. So a lot of people don't understand why God is speaking. You bring the devil's sword to God bomb fight. God dropping bombs. But you want to bring a sword to the bomb fight. And the devil's sword at that. So that's basically what people are doing, because the information you have, you didn't create it. You didn't make the information you have. You didn't create the information you have. You got the information from somebody. You ain't get it from Christ because he in the sky. You ain't get it from the people in the book because they in the ground. So the information that you have and you trying to contend with the truth, it comes from the deception. And that's what we got. So until you come with a new song, that's why we used to hit on that a lot. The Bible talk about a new song. Where's the new song? You saying the same old thing. Christ came 2,000 years ago and he coming back. And we wrong. Because we trying to do something right now. We wrong for trying to do something. The whole Bible is instructing mankind that God used people, but now God is going to use somebody in the sky. But God going to use people to teach a book, to tell you somebody cracking the sky. God going to use people to teach a book, God ain't gonna use people to do what Christ did. God gonna use people to teach a book to let you know the sky cracking and he coming back. This is what people believe in God is using people to do. Stand in a big church and speak. And that's what God sent them to do. And see, people like, my speaking is an art because I speak to destroy. I don't speak for a congregation. I don't speak for a crowd. I speak to destroy. I speak for God vengeance. So let's get that clear. You're doing the same thing. Well, not really. You know, because I'm fighting a war. So again, I'm speaking to destroy. I speak to make war. I don't speak to flatter a crowd of people or to gather. That's not why I speak. I simply speak to destroy. I came to judge and make war. That's what the Father has sent me to do. So I'm not just talking. You know, because what? When it's all said and done, why are so many people trying to stop me from speaking? They ain't trying to stop the pastor that's lying every Sunday from speaking. Why are they trying to stop me from speaking? Because if what I'm saying is correct, then a lot of stuff gonna be destroyed. You're not ready for war with the enemies of God. Man, if I wasn't ready for war, people had me on their YouTube like they do all these other TikTok people. Everybody get on interviews, but y'all Jew. Yeah, what's going on, brother?
You invited me up.
Yeah, you was in the comments, so
I said you're not ready for war with the enemies of God.
You say I'm not ready for war?
You're not ready for war with the enemies of God.
Why you say that?
Because you don't even know who the enemies of God are.
I do. Those who reject the truth.
And what is the truth? Your truth?
The truth will come from God.
So what is the truth that they will be rejecting?
The vessel God has chose to bring forth the... The vessel. Yes, I'm the vessel. You know that. That's why you watching.
I'm watching because I'm looking at a false teacher who also will be the enemy of God when he stands in Israel. Because you taunt the land of Israel, where the Most High has said, when I restore the fortunes of Judah and Jerusalem in the land, I will cause all nations and tongues to come against us.
Is Israel people or land?
Well, it tells us that when the Assyrians.
Well, no, that's a simple question. In the Bible,
right
no, you explaining it. I just want to know. Is in the Bible is Israel people or Israel land?
Explain it, or I answer your question the way I want to. If you was on my channel, I'll let you answer the question the way you want to.
But look, brother.
I'm just going to give you a verse out of the Bible. It says, when the Assyrians invade
our
land, the Messiah will be our peace.
The first, before you give me an answer, tell me yes or no. Was the children of Israel in the Bible land or people?
Again, the prophecy for the land of Israel is when the Assyrians invade our land. That's your answer. When the Assyrians invade our land, the Most High will be our peace, meaning the Messiah.
Can I get a yes or no in the Bible? Was it?
Your answer.
Can I get
it says land right there. It tells you Israel is the land.
Can I get a yes or no or not?
I'm giving you what the Bible says.
Okay.
The word says it's
all right, brother man. All right, well, have a good day, bro. We got another guest, so thank you for coming up.
Yeah, you don't want it. You don't want it. That's why you're going to be one of the ones against God. You are.
I don't want it, but he can't answer the question. could still explain yourself. Just answer a question. What's going on? Peace, peace.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So my message is these all these kings in the background you put on, they're my tribe. I'm from Ethiopia. They're they're from Amhara tribe, you know. But we're facing genocide right now. Their children are facing genocide. But you use our kings, our queens on your platform, but you're not giving us a voice, you know, because their sons and their daughters we're facing genocide right now.
My brother.
And you're using our grandparents on your profile and making topics, you know. So why not make a voice for them too?
But brother,
Because their children would be facing genocide right now.
but brother, we do. We always talk to the Ethiopians and tell them how
No,
Ethiopia
not
is.
the Ethiopians, the Amharas. You don't
The
even know
is
these
Amhara
Amhara tribes.
is Amhara in Ethiopia?
Yeah, but Ethiopia is not facing genocide. The other ethnics that are jealous of these kings are killing the Amhara children right now.
Brother.
Because we all
Brother.
see this. You see
Hold
all
up.
these kings.
Hold up. No,
King
slow.
Tedros.
Hold up.
All these kings, they're from Amhara.
Brother,
So
brother,
they're
hold
facing
on for one thing. Let's get something straight, bro. Tedros' child was taken from Ethiopia. A lot of the king's kids was taken from Ethiopia. Now you do have some of them still there, but a lot of them was taken. Because when you deal with war, the first people you take and capture are the people that's closest to the king. You don't kill them. You see what I'm saying? So we are a voice for these people. A lot of these people that descend from these kings, they are hidden in the earth. Nobody know where they. Hold up, brother. Brother, hold up, stop, cause you come on here lying and bearing false witness.
No, I'm not.
Hold up, bro, hold up, hey, bro. I listen to what's no, brother.
Right now.
Brother, I'm not. Listen, man. I'm not finna keep, brother. You came up here bearing false witness and saying we are not a voice for the people. We are actually restoring what they had. That's our whole mission, is to restore what they was fallen. You don't have the throne no more. You don't have you have a what you call it, a democracy, not a democracy. What do you call it? Y'all have the same government structure. So you don't have what these people set up. That's what we doing. We are restoring what they had set up. So for to come on here and say I'm not a voice for that, that's a slap in my face. You know, everything I'm doing is a voice for these people behind me.
All right, can I talk?
No, I'm saying, do you understand that?
I get you, but can I speak my message?
No, you can't. No. This is not a platform. Hold on. This is not a platform. Hold up. This is not a platform for you to speak your message. This is a platform for you to come up and ask us questions.
You're using my grandparents as
Bro.
as your platform.
All right, bro.
You're using my kings.
We gonna holler at
my
you.
queens.
So why don't you use your kings and queens and establish something for your government, for your region?
It's not my government. Ethiopia, Amhars are facing genocide right now. Every day, at least 200 Amhars get slaughtered, bro.
Okay, but there's a
And
reason.
You guys don't say anything
But do
about
you?
it.
Yes, we do. Do you know the reason why they are?
I never heard y'all say Amhara.
Amhara. It doesn't matter about we don't divide Ethiopia. You do.
What I'm saying is, okay, every other ethnic in Ethiopia hates these kings because they're Amhara. Okay, let me tell you something. That's the fact
Brother,
right
we
now.
know that. We know that.
Because the outsiders told them that, oh, just because we defeated them, they told them, hey, the Amharas are oppressors. They were the only kings. The Amharic language, look, they control everything. But we did everything to try to make Ethiopia great, even Africa great. We tried our best. We didn't do anything. But right now, for all the sacrifice paid, we're being slaughtered.
Well, brother, do you know, brother, you have to get to a point where you admit that all the kings that sat on the throne in Ethiopia, they weren't all good kings. They didn't all do good things all the time. Menelik had slaves. Haile Selassie had slaves, but
No, they
it's
don't
a
have slaves.
different.
They didn't have slaves.
Okay, well, this this is what you need to understand.
Menelik stopped slavery.
Hold on, bro. Hold on, bro.
In the Oromo region.
Hold on. Haile Selassie gave the Salikmane gift to Queen Elizabeth. This is information that comes from the Selassie's family themselves. So these are there are some
There were
things.
no history of.
Yes,
We
there
were
is.
very Orthodox Christian. We believe that human beings should not be treated as objects. Even King Menelik, when he went to the south, one of the,
You know they had
the
different
local
forms of
kings were,
slavery.
had slaves,
Yeah, it's a
and
different
he
form of
was he
slavery.
stopped them. So there's no such thing as. I'm not saying this to stop because they're from my ethnic group, but
There was slavery.
Something I got.
There was a slave trade in Ethiopia.
there was no slave trade in Ethiopia.
Well, if you can't comprehend that, then the conversation is not going to go anywhere because
But as long as what I'm saying is, as long as let's say if I'm using your grandparents as my back, for at least.
Brother,
I would
for
say
one
something
thing,
about what's
how you
happening
know,
to right now.
brother, how you know these not my grandparents?
Well,
'cause
you fight for the whole Africa, of course, they can be your
Brother,
grandparents as well. But
Brother,
what I'm
okay
saying-
then. So I'm fighting for my grandparents too then. So
Yeah, but like right now, what's happening is Ethiopia is different. Uh, you see children being slaughtered just because they're from Amhara region, and
brother, that's happening in America. Just 'cause we black, in America, we get slaughtered.
in some regions, if you see a kid named Menelik, they'll just kill it because oh, look at it. For the last 50 years, they all think like it's a lot of history, but just be a voice for us a little bit. That's what I'm saying. Keep what you're doing. I'll just scroll and I just saw nothing mentioned about. So that's what I'm saying. Just sometimes just be a voice for us. That's what I'm saying.
all right, brother. Thanks for coming up.
All right, I appreciate it. Bye bye.
Some people are control freaks. Some people are literally control freaks. We literally up here a voice for our people. We the only people on TikTok
Talking about it.
talking about this. With they picture behind us, we the only. I ain't never seen nobody else on TikTok talking about these kings, and we not a voice for them. That's a slap in the face, man. Slap in the face, y'all. But like I say, people don't come up here and ask questions. They just see something and they react. Ask questions first. Don't react just because you see something. There's somebody else want to come on?
There's a lot of genocide going on in the world, y'all. But we talk about the root of the problem on why there's so much genocide. Why there's so much hate between other Ethiopians and other Ethiopians. Like is the cause of division, is the cause of deception. So a lot of Ethiopians have the mind frame of a colonizer. Just like the people in in America.
And what he said was some good facts because that is what's going on. But at the same time, don't say we not a voice for it. And that's why a lot of Ethiopians come up. Because like I say, y'all, Ethiopia has been invaded. Ethiopia has been invaded, y'all. You got to tilt it back to the screw. But Ethiopia has been invaded, y'all. So many people have settled in Ethiopia. Let's get this fact. And when people settle there, it's just like right now, we rep Louisiana like it's ours. If somebody settled in Ethiopia in the early 1900s, and kids start being born there, then that's where they from. So just like we rep the South in America, we rep Louisiana, we rep New York. But we only got 3 generations there. There's a lot of people that ain't got that many. They generations don't really go back to Ethiopia. No. They got a few generations there, and they have took hold because just like if something happened great in Louisiana before I was born, but I was born in Louisiana, I'm a rep there. Because I'm from, oh yeah, look what they did in Louisiana. That's where I'm from. But it happened way before me. That's what a lot of Ethiopians doing. All the rich history that that's why most Ethiopians don't care about the history, because their ancestors are really not a part of it. But they say they are a part of it because of the richness it brings in Ethiopia. But when you start talking about the real history of Ethiopia, what do the Ethiopians do? They get mad. Because they don't really hold dear to the history. And see, that's what you have going on. Like, how could you have such a rich history of Ethiopia, but none of the Ethiopians want that history to come back? But that's why we talk about the throne of David. The Bible tells you the throne of David did evil. Can we get that verse? I think it's in Jeremiah. It says, they did evil who sat upon the throne of David. It's a scripture in Jeremiah. So a lot of people think that because it was evil, then the evil is no more, and the government I have now is not doing evil. Jeremiah 36. Jeremiah 36. Look at it. The king that sit on. Yeah, that's one of them. But what the other one is? Jeremiah 22 and what? So yeah, so let's just go to Jeremiah 36 and 30. Because this is Ethiopian history. That's why some Ethiopians don't like the kings, because of what the kings was doing. You know, so they think when the kings come back, or this kind of lineage come back, that same evilness gonna take place. So that's just verify Ethiopian history in the Bible. Again, let's verify Ethiopian history in the Bible. So it says in Jeremiah 36 and 30. So it says, therefore, thus says the Lord of Joachim, king of Judah, he should have none to sit upon the throne of David, and his dead body shall be cast out in the day of the heat, and in the night of the forest. And I will punish him and his seed and his servants for their iniquity. And I will bring upon them and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem and upon the men of Judah all this evil I have pronounced against them, that they hearken not. So God pronounced the evil that was going to take place upon the house of Judah and the throne of David. These things was pronounced because what? The throne of David, the house of Judah, the house of David did not hearken to what? The message of God. And the evil was the throne of David was going to be wiped away. The people of Judah was going to be no more. Now what do we have? No more. No more. Where's the throne of David? No more. So what has to take place? What is the prophecy? If it was prophesied that the throne of David is going to be forever. But because of David's descendants, God had to what? Tear it down and rebuild it. I should have read it up before this. Well, no. Let's go to Amos 9 to show you what's going on and why the carpenter is on earth. Let's go to why the carpenter is on earth. So if we go to Amos 9 and 11, it reads, in that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen. In that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is what? Fallen. This is the tabernacle that's fallen. This is the tabernacle. The house of God, the meeting place. The house of God was torn down. So what? God has to rebuild it. So Isaiah 9 and 11 is the restoration. It says, in that day, what day? The day that no man knew. I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen and close up the breaches thereof. What is the breaches? What is the breaches? What is the breaches? A breach is almost like a gap. A breach, a gap in the wall, barrier, defense, especially one made by an attacking army. The act of breaking or falling to observe a law, agreement, or code of conduct. An act of breaking or failing to observe a law, agreement, or code of conduct. So what's going on right now? We are failing to observe God law, God agreement, and God code of conduct. We are failing at that. So what God is doing right now? Raising up the tabernacle of David that is fallen and close up the breaches thereof. So God is going to put a stop to people failing to observe the law, so people failing to have the agreement, and for people failing not to keep the code of conduct. So I say, and I will raise up his ruins. Why is David ruined? Why is David ruined? You see why David is ruined, huh? It says, and build as in the days of old. How can you go to the land of Israel and build in the days of old if nobody ever shows you the days of old? See, we can actually see the days of old of Ethiopia. We can see these things. We can put our hands on it. Try to go to Israel and put your hands on their history. You can't. How can people be so great in the earth and they don't have nothing to show for it? You was that great in Israel and you don't have nothing to show for it? That don't make sense. Where's the richness? Where's the majesty in Israel? And we should be able to put our hands on it. So it tells you, and I will build as in the days of old. What the days of old look like? We'll read the Bible, we'll imagine that. We're not imagining, y'all. This is not an imagination no more. That's that reality check I was talking about. This is that reality check I was talking about. This is not an imagination. But everybody want to imagine. Damn, man, I ain't even imagining no more, man. You took my imagination away from me, man. Some people get mad at that. Man, you took the imagination away from me, man. Shit, I had fun imagining that. I had fun imagining Christ was coming from the sky, man. Now you tell me that ain't gonna happen? Nah, bro, I'm gonna keep my imagination, man. Thumbs up, y'all. So verse 12, Amos 9, verse 12. It says that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the heathen, which are called by my name, said the Lord, that do this. Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the thredder of grapes, him that soweth the seed. And the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt. And I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel. I will bring again the second coming, the second time. I will bring again my people Israel, and they shall build the waste cities and inhabit them. They shall build the waste cities and inhabit them. And they shall plant vineyards and drink wine thereof. They shall also make gardens and eat the fruit of them. And I will plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be pulled out of their land, which God hath given them, said the Lord thy God. They shall never be pulled up out of their land. This is the prophecy that Christ was supposed to do 2,000 years ago since he came. Since Christ came, Christ was supposed to set up something where what? They should no more be pulled out of their land, which I have given them, saith the Lord thy God. So why was we pulled up out of the land after Christ? Let me tell you something in your ear. I can't say this out loud. Christ never came. Y'all heard it? Christ never came. I gotta say that in your ear. You know why we got pulled up out of the land after so-called Christ came? I gotta tell this in your ear. Christ never came. That's why. So these are just facts. When we and like I say, we are a generation that's kicked all this devilish, all this deception. It don't dwell on Mount Zion no more. It ain't in heaven no more. The devil on earth right now. The deception can no longer dwell in high school, in higher learning. So the devil has been brought down. So this is how we can fact check. This is how we can prove Christ didn't come. Because I'm reading Amos, which is what, and now this is how people got to change the lie up now. Now people have to say what? Well, Christ didn't fulfill all the Old Testament. Christ fulfilled some of the New Testament. So Christ did his job. Christ did the job. That's like somebody work on your house and be like, I gotta stop, but I'll be back in about 5 more years to finish. You're gonna fire that contractor. You're gonna fire that carpenter. I won't hire me somebody else. You're gonna do it half and then come back years later to do the other half? No, I don't want that. No, I don't want. If you're gonna start, finish it. If you're going to start, finish it. Now, again, you might what? You might not get it done in one day. But you're not going to leave and stop for years and then come back and finish it, y'all. That's what they want us to believe. Because we never read the book. How many people read the whole book of Amos? How many pastors have went over the whole book of Amos? Because Christ, what we was told, the Old Testament was done away with. Christ is the new covenant. Christ is the New Testament. So why would I go to the old while we still trying to get back in the land that we should be fucked out in? Nobody should have pulled us up. Christ came. But the reality check that a lot of people might not want it. Well, ain't no might. I know they don't want to accept. He never came, y'all. But guess what, though? Guess what the good news is? That's the bad news. Christ here now. The bad news, Christ never came. The good news, the great news, Christ here now. That's the good news. I know it hurt to realize he never came. But at the same time, he's here now. So it ain't like we the people that's telling you Christ never came, throw it away as garbage. All we saying, guess what? He didn't come, brother. He didn't come, sister. But guess what? He's here now. That ought to be beautiful. You should say, my generation? My generation? That's what you should be saying. Oh man, let's go. But what? You ashamed of the gospel. The second coming, y'all gotta understand, the second coming is the second time God. Like, that's why I was saying in the beginning of the thing, like they tricked us to make Christ eternal. Christ is a flesh and blood human as me and you. But they made Christ eternal. So now you can't hear God. Because what God word gonna be? Flesh and blood. Where God word gonna be at? In a living flesh and blood. That's where you find God's word. Eat my flesh, drink my blood. So where do you find God's word? In flesh and blood. But because we've been taught God's word is only in a book or a deity in the sky, what everybody gonna miss? The word made flesh. So what everybody missing right now? Everybody is missing the word made flesh. That's what everybody is missing. The word made flesh. So y'all, man, we just here bringing it to you like we supposed to. Like I was saying in the beginning, the devil is already cast down, y'all. I know a lot of y'all didn't see it. Just like I be telling y'all, you know how they be fighting on Dragon Ball Z? But, when they start moving so fast, you don't see it, And that's kind of what this how the spiritual war is. Like, a lot of people don't see the spirits warring. They don't see the fight. Because stuff is moving too fast for them. They not on that level. They're not on that playing field. So their eyes can't keep up. The veil haven't been removed. But to those who the veil have been removed, they see the fight. And sometimes, even for those who the veil been removed, it still speed up. Well, sometimes they can't even keep up. But if you ain't got the veil removed, you don't see nothing. You know, you blind to everything. You know. So like I said, a lot of people just don't see the fight, man. You know, and that's just like I say, that's the like it's written. It was good in God's eyes. You know, I didn't make it that way. Shit, when I woke up, I wanted everybody to see it. And God was like, hold up. Everybody don't get my glasses. I was like, well, I gotta respect that, God. Shit, I thought everybody put on God shades. I was like that too. Everybody gonna know this. Nah, everybody ain't gonna know this. You know, when more people find this out, everything gonna be done. Just like your house. You know, most people when they get their house built, they don't see the electrician, they don't see the plumber, they don't see nobody did the inner work. They see the house and they see how beautiful it is. That's how it's gonna be with God. Most people not gonna see a lot of people that do the inner work, but you're gonna see the beauty of what? The building, the making of it. You're gonna see that part of it, but this inner work that's being done, y'all don't see that, man. Y'all blind to that, you know. No guess, y'all. They stopping my lives though, man. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna change the title, but none of my lives are getting on the For You page, so I gotta, you know, they probably already shadow banned me, but now they not putting me on the For You page. It's really gonna be hard for me. So like I say, y'all do have a YouTube up. Somebody else comment. How will Yahweh help you if you don't love Jesus? Do you think he loves you more than his only begotten son? And see, this is what I talked about Christ being eternal. Because they have taught us Christ is eternal, nobody can recognize the begotten son of their generation. See, God does what God want to do. And because you have the book, you don't determine what God want to do. So even if God say, well, you know what? I feel like choosing the son right now. You know, somebody gonna say, well, if this ain't the Jesus in my mind, then you not God's son. That's what you will say. But again, we don't have that power because what? God's thoughts are not your thoughts. God's ways are not your ways. So when people even try to choose for God, man, that just shows you how I say, man, how far darkness we in, y'all. We really in darkness, man. We really in darkness, man. We are really in darkness. I know wisdom and instruction to perceive words of understanding. Okay. I don't know. Like I said, that's why I don't really read comments, y'all. I don't be liking what people be coming from. I don't know what people be coming from. Yeah, my brother, don't lean to your own understanding. Listen to the Bible. You can't listen to the Bible, man. You know, the Bible don't talk. You have to interpret what you read from the Bible. You have to interpret what you read from the Bible. You know, so the Bible don't tell you nothing. So anybody that's reading the Bible is interpreting it. I hope you know that. Anybody that's reading the Bible is interpreting it. Did you know that? Now, God messenger speaks. The Bible is not God messenger, therefore it does not speak. The Bible is not God messenger, therefore the Bible does not speak. Yeah, I'm good. Hmm. I don't know why it's doing that. I thought it was going on. But yeah, y'all, man. Hebrews 4. So again, people try to say the Bible is the voice of God, God mouth, and you know that's the case. If the Bible was God wouldn't be in you. God would just be in the book, and everybody just go to the Bible. Like God would, like people understand. If God was in the Bible, God wouldn't be in people. Because God will go in all the books, and then you will go to the book to find God. You wouldn't go to nobody. If God was actually in the Bible, you're not gonna take the Bible and God to listen to a man when God in the book in your hand. You just go to the book. Spirits don't dwell in books. The spirit of the devil don't dwell in books, and the spirit of God don't dwell in the books. The spirit of the devil and the spirit of God both dwell in people. The devil uses people, God uses people. What book? Like now, that's why I always say everybody follows the devil, but nobody has read the devil book. Nobody read the devil book, but everybody follows the devil. You know, like come on, y'all, come on, man. We gotta do better than that, y'all. We gotta do better than that, man. Okay, okay. The time means time ticking. Yeah, time ticking, man. But like I say, what say God was gonna stop time for the elect's sake, and time what God cut time short. So like I say, a lot of stuff, man, we don't even understand. We know it's gonna be. I'm trying for the best way. It's almost like a Hail Mary pass, and then somebody right there finna catching it, then God come intercept it. Everything is finna be intercepted by God. Everything that's going on is finna be intercepted by God. And a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people not in tune with that. So they can't see it, they can't understand it, they can't grasp it, they can't do none of that. They're not in tune with that. But right now, a lot of things are going to be intercepted by God. And you can't stop it. Even the bad is helping God. Even the bad stuff that's happening is helping God. And that's why I always use the example of God hardened Pharaoh's heart. Because Pharaoh's heart is hardened, the people was able to see Moses. Because if Moses would have never had to do those miracles, the people of Israel would have never followed him. So the bad things benefited God and Israel. So things are happening that you might look at and be like, you know what, man, I don't know why that's happening. But it got to happen that way because it's beneficial for God, because that's the way God set up. Moses didn't harden Pharaoh's heart. God hardened Pharaoh's heart for God's sake. But Moses had the power to deal with Pharaoh's heart being hardened by God. And they all what? Everything is happening for God's glory. That's basically all I'm saying. Everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the small, the salt, the hate, all that is for God. You know, all that is for yeah. Yeah, you didn't know God created everything for himself. I did know that. I most definitely knew that. Who we got, y'all? No guests, no guests. They got me hiding behind the wall, huh? TikTok put me behind the wall, huh? TikTok put me behind the wall, y'all. But like I say, y'all, it's just really understanding, man. That the teachings that we have to throw away. I don't know how to tell you this in the best way, but get rid of the information that you think you know. Because God has something new. The new wine. You can't put new wine in old vats. You see what I'm saying? So you have to, get rid of the old to accept the new. Get rid of the old to accept the new. You have to. So I know y'all really, if I don't have no guests, I'll probably shut it down by 2 o'clock. What time it is? Yeah. No guests, y'all. Like I said, I kind of thrive off the guests, man. That's why I'm hating they kind of get me off the For You page. I'd rather get guests anyway. But I know they take me off the For You page. I'm really gonna be short-handed. But yeah, y'all. Like I said, man, the gospel is here, y'all. God is here. The New Testament here. The New Covenant here. The bread from heaven here. The devil been cast down. What else, y'all? The supper is here. The information, the feast days. The Sabbath day is here. All this stuff that we have talked about, we have not fully understood. That understanding is here. As a collective, this is something we have to grab onto. And we gonna grab onto it because the way it's set up, it has to be. Like I said, it's our only way out. But like I said, this is a grace period where a lot of people are being purified. A lot of people are being raised up. To mature in this truth. So we can manifest this as heaven on earth. This is what it's finna be. Heaven on earth. I don't know how we forgot about that. They tricked us to tell us what? Heaven gonna be what? After we pass away. But no, heaven is on earth. the New Jerusalem comes down on earth. You don't pass away and go to the New Jerusalem. Again, you don't pass away and go to the New Jerusalem. You know, you can't do that. Like I say, man, I've been doing lives for a long time, man. I told myself I was gonna stop doing lives a long time ago, man. But again, this is the Father's will. It's not my time, so you know, whenever I'm told to keep pushing, you know, whatever energy of the Spirit give me to keep pushing, I keep pushing. So like I said, but I know my days of doing lives, man, are kind of coming to an end. So you know, but I gotta stay on my job. I'm gonna stay on my job as long as needed. You know, like I said, man, a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. You know. Okay. So yeah, y'all, like I say, a lot of stuff is going on behind the scenes, man. So I don't need to be on here. We got a strong team of the saints who speak boldly. And that's another reason why I don't really have to be on live that much. You know, we got a great support team, man, when it comes to spreading the gospel. Well, you know, I don't have to be on here. You know, I put in a lot of work when it comes to lives, man. A lot of people don't even know. Well, I guess I have said it a lot, but I've been doing lives for a while, y'all. Before your favorite teacher got big, I was doing lives. You know, so like I say, my live days are just, you know, coming to an end. As like I say, as this whole mission, y'all. Like I said, this, you know, this stuff started, you know, many years ago, and not many, but you gotta think about 2015, 2016. You know, when this really started. So, you know, this 10 years in the making. So you gotta understand how much can happen in 10 years. Like I said, you didn't, because you didn't see it, that don't mean it ain't happening. It'd be like a lot of people like, well, why I ain't see it? There's a lot of stuff you're not gonna see. And that goes the thief in the night. That's why you have the thief in the night. Because a lot of stuff you just not gonna see. You know, you will not see it. It look like that stem green, huh? That stem green? That mean it ain't right. Yeah, it ain't right. You gotta get right. Yeah, well, you know, it's most likely best to kind of, when the stem get brown. So, like I say, y'all, like I was saying, like a lot of y'all don't see it. Y'all don't see the fight. Yeah, see, yeah, it's right. Yeah, they just cut that. But, woe to the prophet say I said when I have said nothing. Remember I said it, Christ. I will remember, man. I will remember, brother. Whoever you is. But it ain't woe to me. It ain't woe to me, brother. Anybody tell you Christ is in a secret place? The Bible say, believe them not. We never told you Christ was in a secret place. Christ is among the people. Christ is among his brothers and sisters who we got to get a gospel to. Christ have to give a gospel to the people, so why would he be in the sky? And if the gospel came from a book, why Christ didn't write one? Like, why Christ didn't write a book if the gospel come from a book? Why did Christ send people out if the gospel come from a book? These are just questions you got to ask yourself. You got to ask yourself these things. It's the gospel is a book. Why did Christ send messengers out. Christ should have just wrote a book and made copies of it and passed it out. But Christ sent flesh and blood out. Same thing the Father does. How am I going to believe in prophets when they are dead? I can't even speak to them. You can't speak to Jesus either. Jesus might well be dead too. Just like you can't talk to the prophets, you can't talk to Jesus. So he dead to you too.
What's up?
What's up? Peace, peace.
Hey man, listen, don't you think that gathering people up underneath you is a bad thing, man? Don't you think that, bro? Like, how many times have this happened, bro? Where a black man comes along, say I was divinely chosen, and then he tell people to give him their money, and then eventually he end up going to jail for something illegal he was doing with the money. He didn't build what he said he was going to build. Like, these empty promises and this corruptness, it gotta stop, brother. It gotta stop. You gotta look in your heart. If you really love black people, don't do this, man.
Man, brother, you got, hey, brother, do you got, brother, let me tell you something, bro. Do you guys, brother, hold up, stop, hold up. For one thing,
I don't want to see you on the news.
For one thing, bro.
But like, see, I talked to that brother.
Bro, do you have some substance to talk about? Because what you saying, bro, I don't have to, brother, listen. I don't have to engage what you're talking about because that's not my walk. That's not my journey. That's not what I'm up here for. For one thing, bro, like I said, I can make more money than you probably, so I don't have to ask people for money.
I bet you could. Because
okay then.
Give it to you.
No, for one thing, like I say, bro, people don't give me money to sustain my life. For one thing, I've been doing this for 10 years. I don't get no money. For one thing, that's not. Do you have anything of substance to talk about? Because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You only know what you assume.
Are you helping people build homes and supermarkets and stuff?
That's not my brother. Listen, are you doing that? Because that's not my job. That's what you doing.
As a leader and a protector and an overwatcher of the people, you are obligated to make sure the people are in good health. And
brother,
good dietary.
No.
And good education and shelter.
No. I'm obligated to set up a kingdom that's gonna provide those things for the people. That's my job. It's gonna be other people's job.
Like Dr. Umar, bro. Dr. Umar, you know how long Dr. Umar been doing what he was doing? Longer than you, and he still ain't got no damn school. And people actually gave that brother tons of money.
Brother, okay, well show me. Listen, show me where people gave me tons of money.
We can't. We don't know what you secretly doing. All y'all is always doing some secretly
for one thing, like I say, the thing about me and Dr. Umar claimed to build a school. For one thing, I claim to build a nation. And I didn't ask the people. For one thing, the people don't give me money. Dr. Umar collected money from people all over the world. I have a small group of people that I deal with, and we are moving according to how the Spirit is moving us to get this job done. So for you to compare me to Dr. Umar, and I'm sitting on interviews, You know, I don't do those things that Dr. Umar do. So like I say, bro, you on the outside looking in. So let's if you got some substance to talk about, but from your perspective on the outside looking in, that'll be a waste of my time because you don't know what's going on. You only assuming what's going on.
But you do understand where I'm coming from and why I'm saying this stuff, though. It's
Oh,
not that I'm
well,
tagging you, but you do understand that this ain't nothing new. You do know that.
no, for
right?
one thing, this is something. For one thing, brother, what I provide, I provided something that no other man has provided on the face of this earth, which is evidence of why. Hold up, stop, 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 stop. No, I have provided evidence of what I speak on. You see what I'm saying? This is what I have provided. Nobody else have provided evidence. When I'm restoring, I provide it. I provide the evidence of why I'm doing these things. I also provided the Bible scriptures. You see what I'm saying? No. Dr. York did not provide evidence of what he was restoring.
What you mean? So what is it? What is the evidence that you're providing?
I'm showing you the throne. I'm showing you everything that the Bible talk about in real life. You know,
Dr. Malachi showed the Bible too. He showed the Bible.
no, he didn't show you for one thing, he didn't show the facts.
What are the facts then?
The throne of David, the history and all these things, he didn't show that.
Where's the throne of David?
In Ethiopia.
The throne. Haile Selassie dealt with dealing with that. That's Haile Selassie and them over there.
For one thing, Brother Haile Selassie was just the last one to sit on the throne. But that's a real throne the Bible talk about. That's a real live throne. That's a real live throne the Bible talks about.
So, well, I mean, so are you going to go to Ethiopia?
Of course, that's where everything's going to be set up at. There's no secret.
Okay, so you kind of, so basically, the kingdom going to be set up in Ethiopia, and everybody going to go over there.
Not everybody. Everybody don't. When the president go to the White House, everybody don't go to D.C. The president goes to D.C.
So you're going to govern from Ethiopia.
Yeah, that's what. Just like the Roman Catholic Church governed from Great Britain. Yeah, same thing.
Okay. And how is Ethiopia gonna allow you to go over there and sit on that throne?
Because this is God's divine will. This is not something that I bumped my head. This is God. This was written before me. So this is God's. No, like for one thing, bro. Like this is, like I say, if you, this is a divine purpose that a lot of people know nothing about. And the reason why it's being revealed to the world, because the one that's actually doing the purpose, actions are louder than words. So because these actions are being done, the sacrificial lamb, again, I'm a suffering servant. I'm not a glorified servant. That's what Christ is. So people can see what I have been doing ever since I've been anointed is a suffering. You see what I'm saying? So these are testimonies that's going to go out in the earth that's going to judge the world right now. That's what judgment is going on right now. Judgment of the world is going on. So it's really not about just Ethiopia letting me. Like, actually, when you deal with Ethiopia, Ethiopia is being controlled by Great Britain. This is facts. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. So Great Britain has jurisdiction over the world because they are mimicking King David's throne. That's why King Charles is so-called King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Like when they put the crown on King Charles, you know what they call him? In front of the whole world. But we too blind and too deaf to hear, but they labeled him King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So people got to understand why Great Britain owns majority of the world. Why? King of Kings, Lord of Lords. So this is what I'm fighting. While all my brothers, denying me and going against me, throwing dirt on my name, all this, I'm fighting the people who we should be fighting. But because we don't have knowledge, we fight one another and the hand that's feeding us.
Who should they be fighting?
The forces of darkness that set up this whole darkness that we in. The forces of darkness is the principalities. The forces of darkness is the people in high government, man.
And what if I told you it was us? We were the ones who started.
Yeah, you can say that.
So we're fighting ourselves.
Well, we are. Like I just said, we fighting ourselves because we're not fighting the high courts.
Because we gave the other people their position.
No, we didn't.
You know your history.
No, we didn't
We
get.
gave it to them.
No, God gave it
Yes,
to him.
we did.
No, God gave it to him.
Exactly. Like I said, we gave it to them.
Well, yeah, I say, bro, you know, I don't know what you fully mean by that. I hear what you're saying, but I don't really know fully for me to say, oh, I agree. You know, but at the same time, because of our slips and because our disobedience, you correct that. That's why everything is the way it is.
I just don't want you to end up in jail like the others, because I've listened to a lot of our people. I've been a big follower. Either they end up sleep or they end up locked up. That's the history of our black brothers trying to lead our people. That is literally the sad history
What
of us.
you gotta understand that most of our brothers wasn't trying to lead our people. Like I don't know, like the brothers that was trying to lead our people, they never got a position. You see what I'm saying? That's why right now I'm hated by the people. You see what I'm saying? I'm rejected by the people. So I'm not even really leading.
You don't come in your own name. You claim you don't come in your own name. You come in a name that they already have an identity for, and so it's like you're taking somebody else's name. So that I think if you came in the name of your actual name, I don't know what that is. If you came in your own actual name and said, okay, I'm ordained, I'm lit, like I think people will receive it better.
Well, and you know, I doubt it because it's really about the order. Because if I was anointed, I'd still be trying to restore order, and it starts with one. You see what I'm saying? So at the same time, you know, people just that's the first thing people hear and see because, like you said, they already have an image. They don't have an image for God order. They don't have an image for God law. You see what I'm saying? They don't have an image for Christ. But when it comes to a lot of things, they don't have an image for, so they attack what they have an image for because that's what they get defenses of. You can't get really defensive of something you don't have an image for. You can only listen to it. I might not. You ain't got to believe it, but all you can really do is listen to it. It's hard for you to be defensive. But you're right. They have an image, so they are defensive. But the Bible teach you don't have an image of God.
True.
Male, female, don't have no image.
That image that they're not supposed to have. But now you're saying that you are the image. So it's like, you get what I'm saying?
Oh no, I get it.
They're not supposed to.
Yeah, I get
They
it.
make their own image. And then you saying that you are the real image. It's like that's hard to swallow. That's a hard, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, truth
That's
hurts.
hard.
Man, truth hurts,
So
man.
your works are really gonna have to shine in order to get these people persuaded.
Well, they are the people know. They just haven't accepted it, but they gonna accept it once the liars fall. That's why I'm a warrior. I'm a fighter. I'm in a war right now. I'm in a war to make sure the lie don't prevail. See, you gotta think about our leaders was creating organizations, creating religion, creating schools of thought. Y'all Jew ain't creating no school of thought. Y'all Drew is tearing down the lie. That's what our leaders wasn't able to do. And a lot of our leaders were fighting for America liberation. This is a worldwide movement. So like I say, so a lot of people got to step back and really see what's going on because I do have lookalikes. That's the twin, the Cain, Abel, the Jacob and Esau. So you might be looking at my twin thinking it's me. But nah, I'm at home with mine. You know, so I'm not a man of the field. I'm not roaming the field. I'm not doing a lot of stuff people might think I'm doing because of my twin. Yeah, he got a worldwide movement. Hmm. And he was blackmailed by his own kind.
Just be careful, man, and be honest to the people, and watch who you bring around you. And that's all I can say to you. Just
Oh
watch
yeah.
who you let in your circle. You know, pat them down before they come in the house, before they come in a meeting type thing. You know, learn from your past brothers' mistakes. That's all I can say. Be safe in what you're doing.
Oh yeah, will do, brother. Will do.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, peace, peace. But yeah, man, that's something, you know. And like I said, that goes about the twin. That's why everybody in fear, man. People have seen so many people fail. So when somebody come up and say, "Man, look, this is how we gonna do this, and this gonna work," everybody's in fear of how to really go about doing it because of so many losses they have seen. And that's what the gospel is for, to give you that strength, because we have been crippled, that have crippled us. So a lot of us ain't gonna get up and stand up for nothing, because we done seen too many fall. So what makes me different from Marcus Garvey? You know, what makes me, Marcus Garvey, he had a lot going on. They got him, so shit. My little small contribution ain't gonna do nothing. That's called being crippled. Again, that's why the gospel make the cripple walk. That's why the gospel make the mute speak. The gospel make the deaf hear. You know, faith come by what? Hearing. So you might didn't have faith to do nothing. But once you heard the gospel, now you got all the faith in the world. You see what I'm saying? So that's what the gospel is for. That's why we lift up our voice as a trumpet. You know, this is the whole point of Jesus wept. Hear my cry. You know, so all these things, y'all, just like I say, transparent to give us what we need back. That nutrients, that healing, to get up and fight the good fight. Everybody love to fight till it's time to fight the good fight. You know, because when it comes to the truth, they done slapped our mama. And if somebody slap your mama, you gonna fight. Well, the truth, my mother, and they try to slap it, so I gotta fight. It's a must I fight. There's no ifs, and buts about it. They try to slap my mama, so I'm fighting. I'm swinging. I'm head first. You know, and you know that, like I said, that's why the truth is simple. As those who love. The truth is not something that's forced on somebody. It's not something that's persuasive. It's the hard, raw, uncut truth. If you love it, guess what you're gonna do? Wrap your arms around it and never let it go. You know. That's why I say a speaker of the truth have no friends, only brothers and sisters. You know, either you cut from it or you're not. You know, y'all, there's really no in between. So I say, y'all ain't really got no guests, no calls in, no guests. So I think we're gonna kind of end this show here, y'all. Y'all definitely know that. Go to the website, YajuJudah.com. If you want to know more, you want to get in contact with us, that's the website to contact. You know, I died for Jesus. Well, keep dying, brother. But on that note, y'all, as always, I hope the Father has circumcised y'all hearts and ears for the message. Peace and blessings. I'm out.